Senate passes the Nigerian Customs Service Management Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2017. And Senate suspends planned concession of Port Harcourt refinery to Ajib and Oando by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. This is Senate 109 Interactive this week, where we focus on the lawmaking and oversight duties of the Senate of the Federal Republic. I am Shegun Ojelade. Welcome to the program. Let's start the business of the day. The Senate has passed the Nigerian Customs Service Management Act Repeal and Replacement Act Bill 2017. The passage of the bill followed a clause-by-clause consideration of the report of the Committee on Customs and Excise on the bill, as well as a voice vote by lawmakers. Presenting the report, the chairman of the committee, Senator Hope Uzodinma, said the act establishing the customs had not undergone any major overhaul since 1958.
Over time, challenges being faced by the Nigerian Customs Service include how to strengthen the full implementation of the pre-shipment laws of the country through the provisions of screening as a prerequisite for clearing goods into the country. It also looked at ways of improving the security of the nation by minimizing the unfettered access into the country of illicit goods, prohibited narcotics, proliferation of small arms and toxic cargoes. Other objectives of the just-passed bill include establishment of a service commission that will be responsible for oversighting entire functions of the Nigerian Customs Service. While presenting the bill, Senator Hope Uzodinma said when established, the board will also be responsible for posting officers with steeper penalties being meted on anyone found wanting.
We introduce now a Customs Service Commission. If you look at here, we have earmarked 0.5% for the management and maintenance of Customs Service Commission so they can have some semi-autonomy for operation.
In various contributions, some senators noted that when passed into law, the bill will provide a legal basis for legislative domestication of global customs-related agreements.
Now, the word Kyoto, there is Kyoto Convention, revised convention in Kyoto, that the customs, their duty is verification and collection of revenue. The declarant is the importer. And it is the declarant that appoints the agents. That is why when I spoke here, I said that the 1% cease collection is an industry fund. Importers came together and they agreed to pay this money together for the payment of agents. So I am saying that if we don't put this pre and post shipment, whether it is post shipment or whether it is destination inspection, the job of the customs is to verify what has been declared, because issue of declaration. I have here in my hands, Mr. President, 120 queries issued by Nigerian Customs to the various agents, inspection agents. Now, since 2015, when Customs took over, we have never seen any goods that is more than 5%. And in the tariff book, we have goods that are supposed to pay duty up to 90%, 75%, like cigarettes, tobacco, and all this rest of things. What happens now is, in collusion, every goods coming to Nigeria is 5% or under 5%. And that is why customs revenue has moved to very close to 1 trillion to a mega sum of almost 300 billion now. So, why I said indigenous Nigerian companies, we had audience with all the former Controller General of Customs. They came to us and they said that the only quarrel they have against pre-shipment and this inspection is because it is empowering foreigners. So I now said, okay, in our committee, if that is the case, we have retired custom officers. We have people who have this experience in Nigeria. They can also float their own company and do the inspection under the Local Content Act. So, but if it is to say that we will allow customs to be a judge, a suspect, and everything in their own case, it means there is no customs service in Nigeria.
Before Ahmed Ali became the Controller General of Customs, we had a very effective pre-arrival assessment department that was very functional, and at that time, the revenue generation from that department for the Nigerian Customs was extremely high. But when Ahmed Ali came and took over, he transferred all the trained custom staff from the pre-arrival assessment department, some of them to borders and some of them to administrative offices. And that killed that department. And as I'm speaking to you right now, the pre-arrival assessment is completely gone. And that also created a dwindling revenue for the Nigerian customs.
It is trying to introduce a single window platform. And single window platform starts from the opening of Fund M. It is linked to central bank operations. As a matter of fact, that was why we were not able to repeal Pre-Shipment Act. Because Pre-Shipment Act is managed and administered by Central Bank of Nigeria through their foreign exchange manuals. So during our investigation, we discovered that over 30 trillion naira worth of foreign exchange from 2006 to 2016 were used for just round tripping. No shipment was made. So now we interfaced with the Central Bank of Nigeria. And Customs is presently operating an Ascuda platform, which they are trying to upgrade into NICIS 2. So when that is in place, pre-shipment inspection is automatic because there is a device called, a software called the Lifespan Management System of every Fund M. So as you open your Fund M, from the time you submit your pro forma invoice, the software will track the pro forma invoice to the port of manufacture. So it is going to be a technological issue. So in order not to create a legal encumbrance, if the single window starts, so we have to introduce it here. That's why we said pre- and post-shipment inspection. So even if it is destination inspection they want to do, this law allows it. If it is pre-shipment they want to do, this law allows it. But we don't want to encumber the operations of our foreign exchange regulation by Central Bank of Nigeria.
Pre-shipment inspection has been abolished, and we now introduce destination inspection. Custom officers have been trained, particularly in ICT, and they are taking care of assessment of import duty on all goods coming into the country. And if we approve this particular section 42, we are now introducing pre-shipment inspection, which is very contradictory to the earlier position we have taken. And Nigerians have been trained already. There is no point appointing foreigners to do what Nigerians can do. This is very simple. So, to me, Section 42 is totally unnecessary.
In the explanations of Sabo Nakudu, he said that there are adequate customs officers trained to carry out these responsibilities. And not too long ago, we have approved colossal sums of money, you know, by way of appreciating what the customs are doing. We were told the 1% that was referred to as industry fund is no longer there. It's nothing industry. They don't pay anything. So the whole of that 1% now is for the customs. We have approved 7% for them. Now, and if we say we are going to appoint these inspectors, again, we are going to pay them money to carry out the jobs these customs officers can carry out. So my question is this: what is the international best practice? In other parts of the world, who carries out this responsibility? Is this the customs officers, or it is indigenous companies or foreign companies that are allowed to carry out this job, so that we will be guided in taking our decision? Thank you.
The clause which they are querying, that is wholly owned indigenous Nigerian company, was the submission of the former retired Controller General of Customs. In fact, we can't do wholly owned. We can do a registered Nigerian company. So that even if the foreigners are coming, they will partner with Nigerians and register it so that they can create employment. This is consistent with international regulation, is consistent with the law of the land. In fact, if we don't approve it, we will be violating Pre-Shipment Act. Because you can't say you are taking the money to give to customs and you are throwing the act away when the act is still in place.
The question asked by Senator Marafa is very valid. And of course, the chairman of the committee, I don't think he has done justice to that question. Because we are talking about customs and what they do. And in places like Singapore, I think the wealth of that nation is based on what they import, you know. and what they do with the importers and everybody. So for a bill of this magnitude, we learn from one another. For a bill of this magnitude, what happens in places like Singapore and other places, so that whatever we are doing here is based on what is also happening elsewhere, for us to take Nigeria from the level it is to the next level. I think that is the point.
What is in this book is pre-shipment and post-shipment. That is what is happening all over the world. There is nobody, even in Singapore where it's coming from, that is where the customs got the Ascuda platform from WTO. The single window, what they are using, the operators of the single window in custom are the technical partners now partnering with the vice president to install a single window. So this is simple. If you pass anywhere in the world at the port of entry, you will only see customs stand close to the scanner and you pass your goods. The cubicle where the examination and the analysis of what has been captured is done somewhere else at the back room. That is the position. It is the same thing all over the world. It is only in Nigeria that the people are scared that nobody should know what has been loaded that is coming to Nigeria. And that is the problem we're having.
And in 2006, the administration of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo engaged the services of 4 operators. Webfontaine, of course, is having to do with IC, but Kotekina, SGS, and others, and only one was Nigerian. In 2011, their contract came to an end. We have chosen as a country at that time, and still, to go full-fledged and full-blown destination inspection. We have trained custom officers for over the 6 or so years by these operators, and everywhere that I visited, and I visited Rotterdam, Port, Amsterdam, I've gone to Geneva to see the operations. The customs of those countries are in charge, even for security reasons. Mr. President and Mr. Chairman, I believe that we have chosen a path already. Let's not bring this pre-shipment thing to create confusion later, because we have developed the capacities of our customs and we have the fund.
Customs are still in charge, whether it's pre-shipment or post-shipment. Customs are 100% in charge. What these people supply is technical support services. Mr. President, let me tell you one thing. This is compendium of queries. Queries from Nigerian customs to the pre-shipment companies. And these are bordering on wrong classifications. The question is that if customs are the one doing it now, who will query them? Because we must compare what the custom has with what the technology is producing. That is why I told you from 2015 to date, there is no classification that is more than 5%. Check the revenue of customs from 2006 when we have the Ascuda to 2011 and now. It's simple. Comprehensive import supervision scheme is being managed by Central Bank. And in the entire scheme, scanners are just 25%, an integral component of the entire platform. It is a screening platform called Enterprise Platform. It's managed by Central Bank. Because it starts from the opening of an M, allocation of foreign exchange, verification of pro forma invoice, then up to shipping documents. And there is a comprehensive network that connects shipping companies and customs. And there is a technical committee made up of Federal Ministry of Finance, Central Bank of Nigeria, Trade and Investment, SON, and other agencies managing the scheme. Scanners is just for image capturing, but it is being processed at the database at the Coordination Center in Central Bank. Now there is an executive view, which they will establish one at the Minister of Finance office, Controller General of Customs, and CBA. And these things are going to work simultaneously in all the borders, but there is a coordination center. So it is a scheme that is already working. And CBN has acquired this platform already. It is in place. So our fear of what customs prefer, which I don't want to publicly say, is to do manual operation. You understand? Which does not help us. A lot of challenges and leakages. You know, so let us do what government has spent so much money and so much time to acquire. This is my own submission.
A bill for an act to repeal the Customs and Excise Management Act, Cap C 45, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and other Customs and Excise laws to establish the Nigeria Customs Service Commission, reform the administration and management of custom and excise in Nigeria, and for other related matters, 2017 is already the third time I'm passed. Distinguished colleagues, let me congratulate the Committee on Customs and everybody that has contributed to this very important new legislation, this bill that we passed here on the legal framework that will reform customs and our custom procedures. It will bring about modernization of our custom procedures in accordance with the requirements of the revised Kyoto Convention. It will also ensure that Nigeria comply with international commitments of WTO. And I think it's a very, very positive development in ensuring that we have a custom administration that will be more transparent, better clarity, and also the reference to National Assembly on issue of duty reviews will also make the process more transparent and people will be able to participate more. And we hope with this new bill, definitely we'll see improvements in revenues. We'll be able to fight corruption in the area of custom administration and create an enabling environment for the business sector to thrive better.
Now, the Senate has suspended the planned concession of the Port Harcourt refinery to Ajib and Oando by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. It also resolved to constitute a 7-man ad hoc committee to probe the concession. The decision followed the consideration of a motion sponsored by Senator Sabo Mohammed, representing the Jigawa South Senatorial District.
The questions are begging for answers, such as, is it Ajib, any or Oando PLC that is taking over Port Harcourt refinery? Was there the observance of privatization law as regards due diligence, selection from prepared bidders before ceding of the Port Harcourt refinery to Ajib Oando? The Senate is also concerned that the planned concession of the Port Harcourt refinery to Ajib in partnership with Oando without recourse to due process is illegal and a clear attempt at ridiculing Nigerians and will definitely create a big hole that will be hard to fill in the anti-corruption crusade of the present administration. The Senate is also aware that in such a transaction, the best practice is to select partners through open and competitive bids. Also, prepare the business for sale, market the business, then select the buyer, and then close transaction. The Senate notes that any exclusive arrangement that does not follow the above procedure hatched in the dark without the knowledge of participating without the knowledge or participation of relevant stakeholders tend to lead to suboptimal outcomes for the seller, in this case the federal government. The Senate is also aware that the major stakeholders such as BPE that was empowered by law to conduct such an exercise and the labor unions are not aware of this particular deal that is supposed to be signed in July. The Senate is concerned that since Ajib has no technical record in Port Harcourt refinery that was built by a Japanese firm, one would have expected the concerned authorities to direct them to Wari refinery that was built by the same Ajib, where they have technical record. At the end of 2015, he declared that the Port Harcourt, Wari, and Kaduna refineries will be working at 90% capacity, thus reducing importation and ending the subsidy controversy. Up to now in 2017, the refineries are yet to be fixed. They're not even producing at 50% capacity, despite huge amount of foreign exchange expended on them. Therefore, the Senate accordingly resolved to, there's only one prayer, set up an ad hoc committee to carry out a holistic investigation to determine how and why such a deal was sealed and the criteria used to select Ajib, Eni, or Owando to maintain, operate the Port Harcourt refinery.
Ajib constructed Wari refinery. Wari refinery has failed. The only refinery that we are managing now is the Port Harcourt refinery, and they won't take over the Port Harcourt refinery. Secondly, Mr. President, I could remember, and I know that's happening, Dangote is building a refinery. Why don't these two companies build a fresh refinery and rent by themselves? Why taking an investment done by the government of Nigeria and then establish something and take over the whole refinery? So I would suggest that, Mr. President, the prayer by Senator Sabana Kudu should be accepted and set up an ad hoc committee or that should look into this and investigate this matter so that we don't allow this kind of thing to continue. Thank you, Mr.
I cried this morning that our common patrimony is about to be fraudulently stolen. Mr. President, how long shall we continue in sin? They are about again to do to us what they did when electricity was fraudulently sold. When to people they now call discos and gencos. And immediately it was sold fraudulently. We started dancing the disco. Our pockets started dancing the disco. Mr. President, what happened to the concessioning of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is about to happen again. After concessioning Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, we are not moving forward, we are not moving backward. It was reverted, it was taken back. Motion without movement. Mr. President, if we keep silent again, what happened to the airport concessioning is about to happen again. Mr. President, if we don't move this morning.
Mr. President, my additional prayer is that all processes and transactions should be stopped until the report of this committee everything should be kept on hold until this committee submits its report. Because here it is said that they are going to sign it in July. So between now and July, anything can happen. So all processes should be on hold until this committee finishes work.
And lastly on the program for this week, Senate President Bukola Saraki has extended a gesture of love and care to inmates of one of the IDP camps in Abuja. It was during a visit along with some other senators.
Outside plenary, Senate President Bukola Saraki has assured internally displaced persons in some parts of the country that government will continue to ensure their security, social and economic well-being. Senator Saraki stated this when he led a Senate delegation on a visit to the IDP camp at Kuchingoro near Abuja.
Just part of our own solidarity and also show of concern and knowing the difficult times and this period of Ramadan and fasting to let them know that we're thinking of them.
Foodstuff and toiletries were donated to the IDPs.
That's the program. Join me, Shegun Ojelade, for another edition next week. Be good. Bye-bye.